The facets of Tommy G. Thompson, a small-town grocer's son who became the longest-serving governor in Wisconsin, are revealed in a new book.
With co-author Doug Moe, Tommy Thompson traces his journey from his boyhood in Elroy to politics on the world stage to his service as a cabinet secretary under President George W. Bush. The book is called Tommy, My Journey of a Lifetime. And Doug is here in the studio with us today. Good to see you.
Congratulations. Thanks very much.
What an amazing journey and what a project. How did you approach this?
Well, first of all, it was a privilege because I'm a storyteller, and if you want the great Wisconsin story, or at least one of them certainly of the last 50 years or so, it's this kid from Elroy, you know, as you say, getting to the world stage. So, yeah, as I say, honored to do it. We sat and did 30-plus hours of interviews, me asking him about his life. I did other interviews with people and then would come back and kind of prompt him. They'd tell a story he hadn't recalled, and I would get, you know, his version of it. I saw Jim Clouser 3 times.
Wow.
But the book's written in his voice, so it's an autobiography. But in this enlightened age now, the co-author does get a co-author credit. So
did anything surprise you that you didn't know?
Oh, yeah. The complexity of his relationship with his dad. That really, I think, launched everything for him. But for a long time, he didn't like his dad very much. He was one of these real tough, demanding guys. And but in the end, I think Tommy realizes that he was doing it for his own good, sort of thing. Mm-hmm. You know, one of the very sad things is his dad died before he was elected governor. Another thing, how loyal his friends are. I did, and former colleagues. I did a number of interviews, background interviews with people who had worked for him 30, 35 years ago, and their memories were still very vivid and almost always very warm. It was nice to see.
You don't get elected 4 times as governor without having friends.
Right, or and having that kind of infectious
You were on
personality.
For the Record with Governor Thompson this morning, and
yes.
he told this interesting story. Let's listen in.
When I first ran, I went in, and I'll never forget this. I walked into this guy that was running the automobile dealership in Montella, Wisconsin. And he said, yeah, you look like a nice young man, and we need some new blood. And he said, I will support you. I walked out, and he came back out after me, and he says, I'm not going to support you anymore. And I hear I'm 23 years old, running for my first office, and he tells me he's not going to support me. And I said, why? He says, because I thought you were smart, and I don't think you're that smart anymore. And I said, why? He said, because you shook my hand, but I got 45 people working here as mechanics and people in the office, and you didn't go by and ask them for their vote. And I'll never, ever do that again. That experience, George H.W. Bush, always remember where you come from, always go back and say hello and thank you to the people that prepare the meals, deliver the meals, work on your car. That is a lesson of life that I'll never forget.
That is vintage
really is.
Tommy Thompson.
It totally is. Yeah.
He still shakes a lot of hands to this day, too.
And I think another reason he was so popular, he was willing to work across the aisle.
Right, and of course there's a lot of that in the book. He had Tim Cullen as his first health secretary, a Democrat. Later Steve Bablich became corrections secretary. It's a kind of a cliche, but cliches become those for a reason, right? You just don't see it anymore.
Yeah, what a contrast with the politics of today.
You know, Neil, for the show that's going to air Sunday, asked about John McCain, and there's a lot of, I think, some similarities there between Tommy and McCain. You know.
What led him into politics? Where did he come up with the idea to run for office?
His dad was the Bridges and Roads guy on the board of Juneau County. And so he ran a grocery store in Elroy, and Friday nights he would invite all his buddies in for sausage and cheese and cards, whatever, but they would begin to kind of horse trade about what's happening out in the county with, we need a bridge here, that sort of thing. And Tommy was there sweeping up, listening to it, loved the talk of the deal making, and said, you know, his sister told me, Julianne said when he was 15, he said, I'm going to be governor someday.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Is politics out of his blood?
I don't think he'll run again, certainly.
Yeah.
But he's still, in demand to speak and to go help raise money and that sort of thing. And
he lost the Senate race at Tammy Ball.
He did, and that was devastating. We first talked about doing this book in 2011. He then ran for office, and I think it really hurt, obviously, to lose that. And so we didn't really kick it up again until a couple years later. So it's in his blood.
Yeah, he's still got his finger on things.
Absolutely, yeah. Whether he, again, I don't think he'll run again. but I think he'd kind of like to. I think his kids would lock him in the house and throw away the key if he tried to.
You think for everything, for the amazing life and career that he's had, that really at heart he still is this farm boy from Elroy?
Yeah, well, when you finish a book and you're thinking about certain things like the acknowledgments, and one morning at the kitchen table I said, who are you gonna dedicate this to? And he didn't bat an eye. He said, to the people of Wisconsin.
Aww.
And that's fitting, and that's what we did.
And just his name, Tommy. He ran on the Senate race. Tommy.
His opponents, when he first ran in '66 for the Assembly, 1966, they went to the election commission, if there was one at the time, whatever the body was, and tried to get him thrown off the ballot because he was using a nickname, on the ballot. Well, that's not a nickname. That's his name. That's his
Oh, it is?
Yes.
That's his given name?
Yeah. No.
Another thing you didn't know. Well, you can see much more of the conversation with Doug and Tommy Thompson on the record, for the record, this Saturday morning at 10:30 right here on Channel 3, right after Face the Nation. And you have a book signing coming up. I understand it's sold out.
It is. You can get on at wispolitics.com. You can get on a waiting list. It's at the Avenue Club in September 13th.
Is the book available?
Yeah, the book's available now at Mystery to Me on Monroe Street. And we'll have another event October 13th at the library as part of a book festival. So that one is not sold out.
That's another reflection of his popularity. The book signing already sold out. Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Thanks, you guys.
Great to see you.
Yeah, it's fun to see you.
Can't wait for the next book.